Phone allegedly stolen from the baby's home has a bizarre connection to the homeless man who was questioned in this case, and a witness IDs the man who was seen carrying a baby through the neighborhood the very night baby Lisa vanished. Is there something that connects all these people? Reaction from a mother who endured the kidnapping and murder of her own child. Also reports
with mom and dad in this case, and I'm afraid that it probably is going to
and walked into a yard. In that yard where this person walked, we know that this handyman, John Tanko, a.k.a. Jersey, was doing work that evening in the time frame of about 9:30 to about 11. The next-door neighbor tells us that he was working for this family, moving sprinklers around on some fresh grass seed. If you walk right through that backyard to the fence in that backyard, you are looking directly at the dumpster that was set on fire. The geography is tricky, but it's very important here, I think, Jane.
All right, and then we have another suspicious fact. We got to set it up, and then we're going to get the analysis. A 50-second phone call that the one with the pink hair, Megan Wright, got from Deborah Bradley, the missing baby's mother's cell phone, that Deborah Bradley said was stolen from her house. Megan says she has no idea who called it or who answered it. Listen to this.
I didn't have my phone at the time, but apparently there was a 50-second phone call made from one of the family's phones to my cell phone. It's about 50 seconds in length. I don't know what was said or who called or who answered my phone, but that's what the police have been questioning me about.
So the police told you that this happened?
Mm-hmm. My phone, we have 8 people that live here and only one cell phone at the time, so it was pretty much community, whoever needed my phone.
Steve Moore, former FBI, a house full of 8 people, and it's a prepaid cell phone because that's cheaper. And then she tries to sell a GPS device, and she lists that same phone number, apparently, and a whole bunch of FBI agents swarm in to interview her for 6 hours. What do you make of this mess?
Well, what I make of it is that the whole case is falling into place for Kansas City Police, for the FBI. You're getting such an avalanche of clues coming in, of connections coming in, that I think it's collapsing. And I think that the police in Kansas City have more than a hunch. They polygraphed the mother, but then said that they didn't need to polygraph the father, which to me says they've got more than a hunch. They've got a theory as to how it happened and when it happened. I think you're going to see things moving fairly rapidly very soon.
Yeah, and let's remember a couple of other facts. The mother admits she was drunk and had at least probably 5 glasses of wine and was taking anti-anxiety meds, and the cadaver dogs hit on the scent of a dead human in her bedroom. We're taking your calls. 1-877-JVM says. On the other side of the break, we're going to talk to one of my heroes, Erin Runyon. Her daughter was viciously murdered, and now Erin has taken her grief and turned it into action. She's going to weigh in on this case coming up in a moment.
I came home from work. The front door was unlocked. Most of the lights were on in the house, and the window was in the front was open. Obviously, it all very unusual. And then I started checking on the kids. Checked on the boys first, and then we checked on her, and that's when we realized she was gone.
He said, she's not in her crib, and I said, what do you mean she's not in her crib? And I just knew, something was really wrong. And we're running around the house and we're screaming for her, and she was nowhere. And then I said, call 911, call 911, and he said, where are the phones? And they weren't on the counter where I left them, they were gone.
Definitely, you could tell that he was probably into drugs, and he was a little bit shady. You definitely didn't trust him with anything, but he was a nice guy.
So you heard the issue of drugs come into the equation. That's a woman who lives in the neighborhood who says she knows this handyman, Jersey, who, by the way, cops say is not a suspect. He is behind bars on some kind of burglary allegation, but he is not a suspect, they say, in this case. But he's in the neighborhood, according to this woman, that night. She thinks so because he's turning on and off sprinklers for a home that he watches. And he used to go out with the girl with the pink hair who got the call from the phone that was purportedly stolen from the home along with the baby. Edith Fine Duskin, you are in touch with baby Lisa's family. What do you make of all these bizarre connections, all these people coming out of the woodwork who have kind of odd stories?
I think my personal opinion is I think this should have been taken care of in the first days that it's been, you know, that she got reported missing. Then I believe in my heart and in things I've been seeing since I've been out here day one, that if we had all this in the beginning, we would have our little baby Lisa back.
Well, I think the cops knew about a lot of this from the very beginning, and I think that I want to bring in Aaron Runyon for a second. I think you've worked with cops very, very closely, and they obviously solved the case of your precious, precious daughter's murder. And again, my heart goes out to you, and you're my hero. What do you make of this story from a mother's perspective?
Well, it is a mess, and my heart breaks for this baby, and I just don't know what to make of the family, and I'm hesitant to jump to conclusions because the investigation is continuing, but it seems to me that with drugs and alcohol being involved, anything could have happened. You know, one thing that pops out to me is there were 2 sightings of a baby barely clothed in 40-degree weather in the middle of the night. Call the police. That is child endangerment. It's worth a phone call. It might have saved a life.
Absolutely. Edith, what do you think, hearing about these connections between the woman who gets the phone call? It's hard to keep up. It's complicated. She gets a phone call, okay? But there's 8 people living in the house. She doesn't even answer it. The phone goes on for 50 seconds. It's a prepaid phone. When she gets to it, she says the actual logs are erased. She went out with this guy named Jersey, nickname, who was doing yard work in the house. He was questioned by police, and apparently he's behind bars on a burglary allegation. What could the explanation of this phone be? Could it be that the mother, when she was drunk and passed out, somehow let other people into her house to party? People do that when they're drunk sometimes, Edith. No?
Well, yeah, that could happen, yeah, but I don't think Debbie let anybody in the house. I think it's just somebody out here that's wanting to make a name for themselves, because you know I do believe in the sightings now, you know, of the ones from the street and the 3 sightings, but I believe this is just a thing, you know.
So you don't think the mother let anybody into the house? That was a no.
The 8th, I was interrogated for about 6 hours by a couple different police officers. They told me that my number was written on the palm of her hand, it was shown to a detective, and that they had looked at the call logs between my phone and as well as their families.
Do you know Debbie Bradley?
No, I've never met her or anyone else in that family that I'm aware of.
That is the woman who got a call on her prepaid cell phone the night that baby Lisa went missing, about 8 to 8:30, by the way, which is very early in the evening. And she's saying that cops told her that the mother of the missing child had her number written on her hand. We don't know if that's true, because sometimes cops will make up stories to get information. But if it is true, what does it say to you?
It says to me that she's lying, and it ties all of it together, really. I mean, if that number was on the mother's hand and she supposedly didn't know this woman who formerly dated the handyman, all of it kind of ties them closer together.
And when you say she's lying, you're talking about who?
The mother.
That's hard to say, I know.
It is.
I know, and we don't know that for a fact, but
I just know that if it were my baby, I would not be grieving yet. I would be hoping and praying and begging people to be looking for my baby.
Yeah, she did use that phrase, grieving. That was something a lot of people found interesting. Sugar Lee Lewis, you are searching for baby Lisa in Kansas City. What do you make of these developments, Sugar Lee?
Well, one of the things that I have been watching very closely, been out here on the run looking for baby Lisa. I'm following the police and the FBI reports very, very closely. There's many opinions here in Kansas City.
What do you make of the fact that there are now these other figures? The mystery man with the baby spotted by 3 people in the area when it's 45 degrees. The baby is wearing almost nothing. Then you have a handyman in the area who is the former boyfriend of the woman who gets a call at 8 o'clock at night, the night the child disappears, from a cell phone that the mother said was taken, was stolen when whoever, the mystery abductor, took her child. Do you see a connection that Aaron Runyon is seeing, that all of these people may be connected, and that in Megan Wright's case, she also has 8 roommates, and the man who goes by Jersey, the neighbor, says that she thinks he might be on drugs. Right now, he's behind bars on a burglary charge. I want to go to Steve Moore. Steve? Okay, I'm going to go back to Sugar Lee. Your thoughts on it?
Well, what I really feel like directly at the end, there's all kinds of information that's circulated. But I definitely feel like that we have the best FBI and also the Kansas City, Missouri police department in the world. I think eventually, after all of this information, everything going to be put together, sooner or later, everyone is going to know exactly what happened to baby Lisa. There is many things that are out here. There's many people have seen and cited. Now, whether or not all of that information is 100% correct.
We're going to have to leave it right there, Sugar Lee, but I just want to say that the mother and the father